Ladies, I've been using it for the last 6 days, and here's my thoughts on those gimbals eventually. Some of them did not, a few of them I just sold. But, disclaimer, I'm not a stranger to Zhiyun or Zhiyun gimbals. This is my own experience for the last 6 days in the real world. So take what you're hearing and what you're seeing with a grain of salt. Now, I am using the Primus Live Studios app. Before, I was using this app and did not enable stabilization, which they do have it available, which now I turned it on standard. So, to give you context, the audio that I'm using is from the Comica audio brand. They did not ask me to plug them. I'm just giving you an idea of the audio that I'm using. It's a simple and efficient way to make a simple setup with no wires. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is now my official setup. And I want to show everyone, if I can enlarge that, there you go. That is the setup. No fancy cables, no wiring, no dangling cables. Just a simple plug and play system. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is how I have my setup as of currently right now. So, get a good grasp on how it looks. No cables, no dangling wires like I had it before. Mind you, as I said before, Zhiyun, I was just playing around. You know, I am a gearhead. I like to build stuff. But now, we are going to talk about it live. My experience with the gimbal, first and foremost. Cons. I've been having issues with the joystick, Zhiyun. It is always sticking to my left. When I use the joystick sometimes to pan, it likes to stick to my left. I don't know what it is, and sometimes it sticks down. But I feel like there's something inside the joystick, it's not bouncing back into the center. So with that said, everyone, 2, the issue that I'm having when I am doing these live streams with this gimbal or pre-recording, I need to either use the same phone to go into the app to switch modes or use a secondary phone to switch modes, which I don't prefer. I do prefer doing that if you are going to use mimic mode. If you're not familiar with mimic mode is you take another device, you use the gyroscope as the mirror of the device, and you take that device and you mirror where you want to point the gimbal. And it works very well if you're doing like car commercial shoots, video shoots, music shoots. Yes. So with that said, everyone, we're going to go into the subway really quickly. But take the experience with a grain of salt, everyone. Actually, let's just avoid the subway. But I want to share my experience with the Smooth 5S AI. As someone that does documentarian work, video work, YouTube work, I'm not a... Ladies and gentlemen, yes, Zhiyun did send this out to me. Yes, one of their representatives at the beginning reached out to me and didn't realize that I was already affiliate. But what she didn't realize is that I already had ownership of several gimbals and made several videos about those gimbals. She also didn't realize that what she was doing to try to get me to review a product wasn't the way to go about it. So Zhiyun tried to make it up, but they did. They wanted me, mind you, to ask me what I want to send I asked for the gimbal, but I also asked to continue that collab email. So I wanted to make sure that you guys understand that all these videos are intended for Zhiyun to understand my experience with this gimbal. Now I am using Primus Live Studios or Primus Live Studio, and I am using stabilization now, which I was not before. So now that we are using the stabilization, I want to hear from a live audience. Like, what do you think? Do you think it's smoother now? Before, there was a lot of jumping, a lot of real motion, I would say, walking. But now, I want to see, and I want to know from you if you are going to answer in this live stream. But let's talk about functionalities. I like that it has an LED light. You can, mind you, you can either program it on the function button, or you can activate it on the dial. So in the center of the dial, you see the light, and the dial is the intensity. You can go from 1% to 100%. But keep this in mind, that will affect the battery on your gimbal. Now this gimbal has more than 24 hours of battery life, which is a bonus. But this is what I also discovered about the gimbal. And the firmware, when I was updating the firmware through my laptop, I noticed that it has a restricted area where the gimbal motors can be changed from normal to strong. Now that I am reconsidering my option, because I did say earlier that I wanted to change that to strong because of I thought at the time that the gimbal wasn't that stable. And as I realized, going through some apps and reading about the app, I realized that the app does have stabilization, and it wasn't turned on. Normally, the app, like I said, the Primus Live Studios app would turn on stabilization. So now that I have the stabilization on, it's smoother. But still, I still do kind of like the previous videos from before using without stabilization. It shows you the strength of the gimbal, and that is important. Keep that in mind, the strength of that gimbal. So the last couple of videos when we were using this gimbal, which was no stabilization, and you guys were saying in the comments that the quality is so crystal clear and so good, that is proof and testimony from you that the gimbal works. So with that said, I do like the fact that I have options to tilt and pan with the dial that's on the left hand side of the gimbal. I also like the option, and I'm going to tell you this, everyone, when you have Bluetooth enabled with the app activated on your phone, keep that in mind, you can trigger the record button on the gimbal. And I have tried this with Blackmagic, I have tried it with HD recorder, I have tried this with a few other apps that John you recommended, and it all works. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it all works. Trying to see my bit rate. What is going on here? What is going on here? Okay. Why is it at 30 frames? It's supposed to be at 60. Okay, maybe I did not set this live stream correctly, but it doesn't matter. This is shot in 1080p. I kind of prefer 1080 60. I, but I take what I can get. I made a mistake trying to set this up, but I do apologize. Normally I'm shooting this in 1080p 60, and I can't change it on the fly, which it's so upsetting with some apps. Like, you gotta stay fixed with the frame rate that you already set your live stream on, which I understand, but I just want people to understand, from the last 6 days, I've been having a good time with the gimbal, and I do like the fact that, like, it did came with this AI tracker, which I've been testing, honestly, and my honest opinion is that, like, it does work, but, like, I need to play with it a little bit more, because what I was really doing the last 6 days was programming the gimbal, changing the parameters of the gimbal, the sensitivity, the deadband, changing everything about this gimbal, because I wanted to control this gimbal my way, not the default way on the gimbal. So for the last 6 days, I've been, mind you, trial and error. It's important. Trial and error is important. This is why I test and calibrate these settings on these gimbals. It's never, oh, you get the first time you calibrate your gimbal, you get it right. No, you got to make some tweaks. You may not like how it pan and rolls, or pan or tilt. It might be too fast or too slow. You just want it smooth and right. So that's what I've been doing with the gimbal for the last 6 days. But also been trying to figure out how to, like, neutralize this gimbal, and what would I be using the AI tracker for? And that would be product reviews. Using the product, tracking the product, have someone use my gimbal and tracking me. All I have to do is tell my camera guy to just follow me and let the tracking do all the work. But ladies and gentlemen, as a mobile smartphone gimbal, this is pretty good gimbal. I know the 360, Instant 360, what about those options? Honestly, I do like those options, but I just don't like the options where it's coming from. I have my own reasons why, as a creator, after finding out certain things about certain brands. This is why I want brands to disclose and, mind you, be transparent. Like recently, I found out that Craft Geek, they sent me a product in the mail a couple months back. And it turns out Yulong Z also has the same product under their name, and all they did was stamp their name on it. That was it. And Craft Geek told me in an email, which I still have, this is their own product, their own grip. They designed it. Really? And this is why I posted on my Instagram. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want brands like Zhiyun. Zhiyun, I was very transparent. Zhiyun, I'm a poor YouTuber. I'm a nobody. Okay? No one cares about black people honesty. And as an Asian brand, you know, a lot of people see you still not as reliable. Some people don't even think of you, don't have good quality gimbals, because everyone's so, I guess, so attractive to DJI gimbals, and yes, they got a lot to offer, but they're not the only ones on the table offering gimbals for your video and your production needs. They got lighting, they got everything, mind you that. They do things a little differently, but you got to give them the credit, give them the benefit of the doubt as a brand. They gave this homeless YouTuber an opportunity by sending me this product, everybody. You should think about that for a second. They gave this homeless YouTuber a chance to emphasize the product and the way he wants to, you know, how I do my own assessments. They understand how I do my product reviews. They were aware as I wrote back to them about my situation. Because they tried to send this gimbal before and it got stolen. Because New Yorkers steal the gimbal. They don't, and this is why, ladies and gentlemen, I am grateful for you to even been watching my videos. I'm grateful that Zhiyun gave me an opportunity to play with this gimbal. Mind you, this is not the last video about this gimbal. I know other creators made videos about this gimbal already. What's so different from your experience from theirs? See, I'm going to be using it every single day, all the time when I get a chance to. See, what you got to understand is that these YouTubers, they go through products. Once they review a product, they milk it, now it's not attractive to them no more, that's when I step in. Because they don't do follow-ups. I will always do follow-ups to all of my products. I have done 4-year, 7-year, 12-year reviews on products. And that's what makes me different from the other YouTubers. I do my assessment. I write down what days this malfunction. If I have a photo of it, boom. If I have a video clip of it, I try to save it. And this is why I save everything on a backup drive. So, ladies and gentlemen, the gimbal, the mounting for the gimbal for your smartphone, it works very well. But if you have a cage, not a cage, but a case, it may feel and fit awkward. Ozan from Turkey, how are you doing, friend? So, ladies and gentlemen, keep that in mind. I do have a case, and I had to modify my case to order to get the gimbal, mind you, the audio to fit properly. And let me show you. You see now how the audio sits? You see how it sits without the adapter that sticks out? I don't like the fact that I had the cable sticking out before. But I wanted a simple and practical system. I wanted something that I don't want to make it look too fancy, because this is New York City and people are already attracted to me as it is. I get a lot of dislike mail, just like we just received tonight. Threats. You know, that's what the YouTube life is about. But as a 46-year-old YouTuber, as a parent and a widower, and as someone that lost and been in pain, I like making these videos because it helps with my mental health. I like making these videos because it gives me an opportunity to fix and gives me an ability to help bring something to my mental health. And I want Zhiyun to know this, that like, out of my years of growing up in Japan and Midwest in New York City, I learned these things from people like them. Not just from one particular person or a group of people. Learn it from everybody. So when I make reviews about the gimbal, I want everybody to realize I'm not trying to upsell you. Yes, there is a link in the description, right? But if you are looking for a smartphone gimbal, and mind you, you have options, and yes, there are other gimbals that are better, and just look at the price range and what you want to spend your money on. But I guarantee it, you don't need to do much calibrating other than setting up the calibration on the back on the rear axle. That's all you need to do. And turn it on, boom, ready to go. But keep this in mind though. If you do want to change and update your gimbal, it is best to use your laptop to download the software and plug the gimbal up that way, or use your smartphone to download the app and update the firmware, and then you can change parameters through there. Now, as I said, build quality, it's not the greatest. It is made out of some very good premium plastic, and it does feel plastic, but it feels very strong, very robust. Okay, so I just want to show off that particular. This is my setup right now. No cables, ladies and gentlemen. I don't need the cables. Now, let's talk about weight. People are curious. 300 grams is the maximum, and I don't recommend going over the 300 grams. Don't even come close to the 300 grams. This is why I was considering built-in a cage for this. And then I was like, no. I'm not going to do anything, no modifications, no nothing to this, because it makes no sense. I'm just going to make my life miserable, harder. I'm going to need things. I need to go buy things. So with that said, everyone, I'm just going to keep the gimbal simple and clean, and also show Zhiyun, the brand, look, here's a simple and clean and a very efficient way to live stream with no cables. But thank you. Subscribe, like, and share, everyone. This is a real live stream of me talking about and reviewing this gimbal. So this gimbal comes transparent in some areas. Like the rear axle, mind you, comes transparent. The base around it, the caps, the logos, transparent. I like that. And I was saying to myself, only if that was RGB too. That would have been sick. An RGB gimbal. But I also was talking about some minor upgrades. Maybe in the Smooth 6, where I want the Smooth 6 to have functionality where you can plug and play, which you can. Now, I do have USB audios, and I'm not sure if I can plug and play, because I see a plug and play on the top here at the axle here, and then I see another plug and play. So I'm not quite sure what that plug is meant for, but something tells me I should try to get my audio to work through the plug, because I believe through the app you can get your plug that I think through the app that it's recommending to use to record or live stream. I think the audio will work that way, but I don't think it will work with other third-party apps. So I haven't figured that out, but something tells me that is the case. So with that said, everyone, power button functions, does work well. It's easy to balance. AI, mind you, the matism on the AI tracker, mind you, if you hit it hard enough, it will come off. It will come off. And I'm sorry this video has to be this long, but I need to explain a lot of details of this gimbal for the last 6 days, because it has come off a few times. But it is strong. So maybe I was pushing my luck on the gimbal. I have no idea. But it is strong enough. But I noticed a few times it did come off when I had it mounted in the back of my book bag. So take everything what you see with a grain of salt. Now I am going to live stream right after this, because I want 1080p 60 and I want this 30p. This was a mistake that I actually set this up to 30 frames, but you know what? Take it with a grain of salt. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my first 6 days with the gimbal. I do recommend the gimbal. to anyone looking into the brand Zhiyun. Mind you, I'm not a ambassador. I'm not even an influencer for them. I was just a guy, a photographer, a videographer, and mind you, I purchased my own gimbal with my own money, but I still tag them regardless because I want to show support, solidarity. It's important. So thank you, Jayu, for sending me the Smooth 5 SAI. It's been amazing. So, with that said, everyone, eat, sleep, photography, videography, repeat. I will go live stream right after this. Talk to you guys in the next one. See ya.